is there any reason we shouldn't go ahead and start?
No reason at all. I'm excited for the grand finals of the EG Masters Cup. Want to thank all the people who have made this possible. Of course, MSI Notebook, the coverage partners over at G4TV.com, all the communities from Team Liquid, Gosu Gamers, Reddit, NeoGaf, Penny Arcade, all the guys who are fans of the show's day. So we are getting into Game 1. This is it, the grand finals, and we're going to be kicking things off on Xel'Naga Caverns. Now, who is our top seed is actually Stalife?
Our top seed actually should be ROOT.Qxc,
Okay.
as of course, Stalife is, interestingly, a lower-seeded player. He was the 13th seed in this tournament, in this top 16. But that is okay. We have Stalife as the red Terran in the top right corner against ROOT.Qxc as the blue Terran in the bottom left. And this first map will be on Xel'Naga Caverns.
Yeah, Xel'Naga Caverns. We've talked about it throughout this entire tournament. Of course, with TVT, it can change quite a few things. There's so many different strategies that a Terran can deploy against another Terran. And seeing how those two strategies butt heads is always interesting. You know, we go to the USC analogy day where you can have this phenomenal wrestler versus a great striker, and it's just two styles of fighting that match up really cool, and I kind of expect something like that out of these two Terran.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, if you just focus on the big tank-heavy, Viking-heavy play, you can do something like control this center area very well. Here's your gold expansion, and you just build tanks and scoop around and just slowly chew towards your Terran's gold. Your Terran opponent's gold. Or if you want to play more of the Qxc style mass Marine Marauder with lots of counterattacks, there are so many paths to swing around on this map, and it looks like Stalife opting for the refinery first, whereas Qxc is going for the barracks first.
Yes, and in grand fashion, you see Stalife going out with that early scout once again. It's something that set him apart from all the other Terrans that we've seen in this competition. Everyone has their own idea and thought on scouting. There we see Qxc's scout kind of passing by, but Stalife always wanting to get those few extra seconds there. I don't know, maybe he's had some bad experiences with just pop Marines that he doesn't really like, but he manages to always get it out there, and he is going to see what's going on here.
Looks like he will be arriving shortly in his opponent's base, and this one barracks is planted way far to the backside. Qxc will inevitably spot that, but some players do like to hide barracks in their own base just to confuse the opponent a little bit, and this is actually remarkably good timing by Stalife to have had this gas already up and running right when this SCV ends up arriving. Qxc will know it is gas barracks though, so that does give a little bit of an edge to Qxc.
Yeah, he sees the factory go down right in front of him as well. Qxc also going to already be preemptively putting some supply depots over here on the common areas where we like to see a lot of drop ships and Banshees move in.
And there's the SCV kill by Qxc coming right out the gate. Looks like a little bit of an exchange, but honestly, you're going to feel a lot more frustrated as Stalife than by Qxc there.
That was very nice. Obviously, halting the production of that just momentarily. We've got the factory going down for Qxc and the first Marine moving out.
Looks like he's advancing forward towards these Xel'Naga watchtowers. Wants to pick off this one by Stalife, and the second SCV of the game falls for Stalife. I mean, that's kind of a little bit too much for what you would normally be anticipating at this phase in the game. It looks like Stalife is gearing up to build a starport of sorts. And we haven't seen any add-ons come out from Stalife. There it does go down. Looks like whereas Blur did the add-on of the barracks and got more Hellions, let's see Stalife do the add-on on the factory and get more Marines.
Yep, we have, Qxc putting the reactor down there, so inevitably getting a few more Marines. Second gas going down as well, continuing to spread out the supply depots. Already Stalife having a few Marines at his ramp. He is going to now make the switch over just as the starport finishes up, and of course a Hellion coming out of that factory now. So you did mention about the SCVs and losing two SCVs, and consistently Stalife has been behind by 2.
Yeah, that's always such a big deficit to begin a game with. As we can see, he's just 15 minerals short. If those two SCVs were alive, that Banshee could have begun on time. Every little thing adds up so much over time. Qxc now finishing his own starport. Will he be getting a medevac out of it? That would be a little bit more typical. It looks like he's opting for a Viking right off the bat, having some sort of phenomenal read on his opponent, pokes up with a Hellion, sees some Marines, cooks them, And honestly, Stalife's push is going to fall incredibly flat to this almost exact perfect counter by Qxc.
Yeah, we're going to have that first Banshee out very, very soon. Of course, the Marines and the Hellion just waiting as we continue to have those coming out. And then the Viking being able to support that, that Banshee should be pretty interesting. And here we have the move out by Stalife. He's got a handful of Marines, about 6, and 2 Hellions moving forward with more Marines reinforcing just a single barracks, spitting out those units. And he does also have a Banshee incoming as well. So that Viking should take care of that. And it is going to come at a perfect time. Actually, it's already out, so he is ready for this.
And it looks like there's the add-on, so we can begin getting a Raven right off the bat. Qxc positioning himself to stop any sort of drop, but no dropship tech is coming. Looks like the Hellions move down at the worst time possible. Qxc pulling all his Marines back. There goes the Viking beginning to work away, and the Banshee falls almost immediately. Stalife is not giving up this push yet. Qxc trying to spread his Marines out, but they do cluster quite a bit, and there goes some more huge shots by Stalife, but it looks like Qxc will be the one defending this push today.
Yeah, nicely done. He is also going to take out that Hellion, eliminating all of the units that came down for Stalife. He's got another Banshee heading on over, but as you see, that Raven is going out. I don't even believe that Banshee has Cloak yet, and it does not. We don't see it on the production tab either. Command Center going down for Stalife, an additional barracks, and we're going to have a second one going down as well. Factory lifting, moving to get a tech lab on there.
Yeah, Qxc has a very lean set of structures, just 3 making those tanks and those Marines, not quite doing anything with the starport yet other than this one single lone Raven, which of course is being very helpful in spotting and picking off these Banshees. Look at that great placement, forcing that Banshee back, and oh no, ends up losing another Banshee. But at the same time, Stalife is making a ton of unit-producing structures. You know, it's so easy to convince yourself that you are way far behind when you are in Stalife's position. And even though his food count is lower than Qxc's by a considerable amount, Stalife can begin that steady momentum swing back upwards once all those structures do finish. I
really like what Qxc is doing here. He made that Viking. He used it not only to take out that Banshee, but now he's just harassing. I mean, it would take him all day in order to get that done, but he's killed some Marines, a Hellion. Oh, the tank pops out and he lives just in time. Meanwhile, he does have a force moving out here. Stim is going to finish. Well, actually, no. If you look up here, his Stim is just a little, or excuse me, his Siege is just a little behind. And it's just going to be quite a bit, but he might just be able to use the pure DPS of that tank. And oh my god, here comes the command center. It's not going to be able to land because his force is now here.
And it looks like Qxc saw the amount of production his opponent had, knew that he had to do a timing push now, and he is just going to go for a very solid contain. Does look like Qxc again is behind on that siege tank battle, so it means that he will have to wait for a little while until his siege mode does finish, but at the same time, Qxc is going for Banshees with Cloak, leaving the Viking and the Raven back, getting a small amount of more barracks while he gets his command center up and running. But Stalife is scrambling to get enough forces built out of all these structures.
So we have another Viking on the way, the Raven as well. Here's where it's going to be interesting. These tanks have to be careful because Stalife does have his siege done as well, and they're right on the edge there. However, this Cloak Banshee I think is going to be really big because, of course, Cloak finish. How much energy does he have? He does not have enough energy for a scan right now, and he could do some sick damage to these siege tanks right here and then push forward with absolutely no problem. But he's actually not even going to go after that. Going after the Marines instead on the way over to the mineral line. 5 energy needed in order to get a scan here, and the medevac's going to try to save some of these Marines with this. Not good.
Stalife could use this second orbital command to do a scan, but for some reason he's not. He's just holding off, perhaps trying to save up for mules, or perhaps just accepting these losses while he ends up scrambling for a missile turret. But in the meantime, more tanks positioning themselves outside the front, and there's the scan. Perfect timing to pick that off. It looks like he was waiting for that stim upgrade to get off at just the right time. But Stalife has almost contained himself right now. He has these 2 tanks blocking the entrance, and with Qxc's positioning right at the bottom of the ramp, it's going to be quite tough.
Yeah, and he did know that that force was out there, but he's going to move out with vision, sees the Viking there, and the entire force. Tanks moving a little bit forward, just on the edge, just touching the leg of that particular tank right there, and he's got to be careful. He cannot lose any of these in this matchup, and we've got a Banshee again in the back.
Looks like there's a drop going on from Stalife. Banshee trying to dart through. There's a scan that goes down, but without this orbital command in the mix, it's going to be a little tough. And it looks like Qxc gets the first shot off, and there is the good game. Stalife was contained, just did not have a solution to break out from that aggression.
Again, just showing the very solid play of Qxc right now. This is a best of 5, but how amazing would it be to win the EG Masters Cup with all 3 O's under your belt?
You know, I'm actually going to ask Qxc if he has lost any games before the camera today. I mean, if he's leading up to like this tournament, there were 390 players, and in the top 16 he's gone undefeated. But before,
oh yeah, that's actually a great question. We'll also find out what the next map is going to be. Remember, guys, the best of 5 grand finals. Already, these guys have won $500, but